Low conscious breathers, infinite beings alike. I'm gonna wait till Jesse gets on here. Hello there, brother. There he is. I'll wait till Jesse hops on. Ray's in the house.
Hey,
Hello there.
hey, blessed love, Devon.
Greetings to you. Peace.
Peace. How you doing, my friend?
I'm electric, as always. Not always, but most of the time I'm electric.
Yes, I
And you?
love that. Likewise, my brother. Likewise. And as Ellie Tom would put it, energy junkie. Yeah, feeling great, brother.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what's on your mind today? What do you want to talk about?
Well, just been, on the one hand, wanting to reach out again in community, like I said before, not knowing many other breatharians, it's just nice to have that sense of a sangha, you know, and I just appreciate your vibration, and your vibe. So, uh, wanted to talk to you about that and, maybe chat with our community about diet and herbs. I'm an herbalist and I saw you show up on a Priest Kailash video. I love him,
Uh,
and his creation, and you know, just want to sort of share that vibe, and maybe talk about the astrology upcoming, and
okay.
uh, December 21, 21, 20, 21, a lot of twos and ones there. Um, Numerologically and just you know um I don't know, I feel in a way you're my brother, both of us being students of Elitom. There's uh a heart connection I feel with you, and so yeah, like I said, mostly just to catch up with my community
Mm.
and feel the sound and the vibe. So
Much love. But I'm actually not a student. I was just a friend. I was there when he came to New York, and that's when we did the video together.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was under the wrong impression.
Nah.
Yeah, I thought you guys spent time.
I actually learned um, breatharianism from a Bigu master, and when I actually that's when it really started for me when I lost everything in Cali a couple of years ago. And the point of Bigu is actually not to become a breatharian, but it's more of the feeling aspect of where you can, I can be still for a while and I can feel what my organs feel like. I'm at the point where I can constrict my heart if I want to, and so um, not have a pulse and still be breathing. So yeah, it really started for me with Bigu in terms of the breatharian journey.
That's awesome. That's another reason why I wanted to connect, was just share stories. I haven't known, the details in depth of how, I've heard you speak of that, and I didn't know if you were referring to a Shifu, or as Elitom being that, or not. But no,
No.
okay, that's
Yeah.
well, that's good, for me to know, just in terms of how it came around. And similarly, for me, it didn't come around through following even Elitom. It started with me studying Buddhism and
Mm.
being very interested in the character of Milarepa. Um, and you may know the story of him, but he was a Tibetan yogi from a few thousand years ago who just lived in caves in the mountains. You know, and the whole idea around, opening up the pranic powers is more centered around liberation, total overall liberation, you know, and it's one of the lesser, sort of spiritual powers. It's, in terms of, like, it's one that can clear up your root chakra so you can get off this sense of worry of, how your nutrition's going to come, and, hoarding up things and what have you, so that you can concentrate your mind and your meditation fully on your meditation, your heart mind, you know, is sort of the tradition, Vajra Yogini, that is a deity in your heart, is the way it's understood in that tradition, you know.
Um,
So
beautiful.
the similarity is kind of through that, and I didn't have any formal instruction except for some time at a Buddhist monastery for a few weeks, you know, you know, and wanted to talk to you also about breath work and how that started for you, and how long you've been on that journey, um, yeah, as well,
Yeah,
share my.
I've been on it for about 6 years and counting. When everything started with the Biku, but I mixed what I learned in Biku with some of sacred geometry itself, along with Nikola Tesla's ideology on the human body. Have you ever heard of the Pyramid Man out in Cali before he passed? No, you never heard of him?
No.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I I was in contact with some of his people at a certain point, and we would have deep conversations of how everything in technology is based on the human body, and that's what I learned in that aspect. I mix it what I created in terms of alchemy, mixing sacred geometry, mixing some practice of biku, and only focusing mainly on the parasympathetic, where you dive so deep into quote unquote healing, you really connect with the source energy that is really beaming you into existence. That's how, if you want to take it esoterically, you can take it that deep if you want to go there. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's yeah. I've been doing this for 6 years. Um, in terms of helping people, in terms of sharing it, I had one event, and a monk pulled me to the side. It's like he said, "I like that you don't go in the aspect of trying to get high off the breath or for power in a sense." And he liked that I focus on the healing aspect more so than just getting high off the breath. And he literally pushed me to share it even more from people to people in that sense, and I expanded it.
Mm, that's awesome. I love your alchemy breath that you shared with our group, by the way. Been using it when I'm skateboarding or really like doing rigorous stuff. And man, it's incredible, man. You just like extra juice. You got so much extra juice with that breath technique. It's really brilliant. I want to applaud your, brilliance in creating that. I think that's a great gift for the world,
Thank
to
you.
share. And in that vibration, I also appreciate about you of your focus on healing, because that's my heart too. With herbalism, and how I came even into it was just to heal my heart of what afflicted me about the world, um, and just growing into my fullness, wanting to be in my center, because I didn't feel in my center. And so people are always like, why, how do you stay so, as in my friend group, how do you stay so committed to daily meditation and sun gazing and all this stuff? And it's like, well, it's like really, it it fuels my heart and mind, and it balances my whole vibration, and it just keeps me in a state of wellness. It's
Mhm.
nothing more, you know, than that. It's what I had to do to the extent I needed to do, things, um, and always seeking to open it and go more deeply in to that healing vibration. You know,
Mm.
it's
Yeah,
challenging for me
yeah.
to focus on it.
Yesterday, I was talking about sustaining, being on that wave in terms of your path. And I like how you brought that up. When people ask you like, "Oh, what keeps you going? What keeps you con- on this continuous path?" And what keeps you off of falling off the quote unquote path, in that sense. But beyond the path, it's in a sense it's really aligning to, like I was saying, the source energy that is beaming you to existence. And when you honor that you're literally stepping in the world of more focus when it comes to healing, because anything on the external, like um, things in terms of, let's look at radiation, for instance. Radiation, all it's really doing is literally spinning the blood into an anti-clockwise motion, so you can deteriorate a lot faster, so you can grow older a lot faster, and you're more prone to diseases of that nature. People with sickle cell, People with many other types of blood diseases, if you will, have more quote unquote right spin blood, what the medical would feel. No, I'm sorry. They have more left spin blood uh, in terms of the medical field. And when you have more left spin blood, your blood isn't as strong as it can be. And when you get into these meditative practices, you're literally spinning the blood into a more harmonious manner in terms of more to the right in the sense of meditation. And there's even deeper practices when it comes to quote unquote blood spinning, as I would call it. But um, but yeah, I definitely resonate with what you were saying in that sense. And that's all it is. We're really harmonizing more with the energy that wants us to thrive. When people don't realize this, when you're barefoot, you're blocking radiation a lot more versus someone who isn't barefoot. So what does that tell you? The earth also wants to be in a more harmonious healing manner
Mhm.
in that
Yeah,
sense.
I love everything you just said because it totally aligns with sort of my intuition and study around all this too. And in the depth of my deepest practice, which I feel a little bit unfocused because I raised three boys and I have my, farm and stuff. That pours a lot of my energy out that I would fully put into my practice, and I did for a while. But I had this sense of, like you were saying, your blood spinning. I've had this sense of my like sort of electromagnetic field or my Merkaba spinning, and like negative energies would like bounce off of it, and it just also the study around the heart, like you mentioned, Nikolai Tesla. I don't know if you've studied Nassim Haramein at all, but he's a self-taught physicist who has a grand unified field theory that's under peer review, and he goes into we're all infinite beings because we can all be infinitely divided, and it's this geometry of the vector equilibrium, which is the geometry of sacred geometry, and that your heart is actually like a 0 point energy device. I think that the source is love, or Jah, earth, wind, fire, water, you know um, and so, once this heart field is strengthened, your electromagnetic field, being more robust, will ping negative energy off of it, you know. So it's just like, it's beautiful, to experience, that heart centeredness too. When you're so deep in there, it's like you're in a bath of golden light. You're just so at there's nothing that can perturb you. You're imperturbable, you know.
I
And
definitely resonate with that for sure.
mhm,
It's a total different high, if you will, because you feel. I was saying in terms of like full moon rituals, one of your affirmations should be, um, "I'm accepting to be more of my quote unquote best self." Being being the best that you can be. That should be part of your affirmation, and whatever affirmations you use, that should definitely be in there in terms of being the best you and growing in that manner, and that really harmonizes, going back to what you were saying, that the 0 point energy field from the heart. In the breatharian community, there's a doctor that is part of a series of doctors that they collaborate in Japan and Germany, and they take time to actually weigh the soul. And the soul, they say, it literally sits where the heart is. And during meditation, they see that the soul actually weighs a lot more. What does that tell you? The soul is expanding. It's expanding during
mhm,
meditative practices.
mhm, mhm, mhm. That's beautiful. That's very, yeah, in alignment with the way it feels to me. And I even would do a Merkaba practice where I'd spin my own Merkaba around me, but then I'd explode it to include my property, so that I was harmonizing as much as possible with my aura, with all the beings around me, you know. And yeah, I just love it. It's, I could spend all my time in it. I've been feeling myself move in this way is another reason why I wanted to connect with you, because I feel, I see in the path, very, very well, and I do feel distracted doing everything I'm doing. And it's a huge heart motivation to me to physically heal the planet. You know, I think also
You were going
if
in
we
and
did
out.
this
Say that
work,
again. I heard distracted. You were going in and out.
oh yeah, it's my distraction with permaculture and
Oh, okay.
herbalism and physically healing the planet and other people. I love that work, you know, but at a certain point, I have to claim that for me, the path in a greater way, or just because I love it so dearly, you know.
Mm.
And um, but you know, I understand that was one of the great things that Ellie Tom shared with me is, you know, and I knew it from the yogic tradition of phase of life. I'm in my household, so this is the work that's for me for now, as I and I'll grow into that in my more renunciate years. But I've shared that I've had that heart in me from, you know, my teenhood, and I don't know what to put it there. I think, you know, it's actually part of my studying experience too, is just that this is the true nature of all of us, where heart beings primarily, the first organ that forms is the heart, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that whole thing of that electromagnetic field harmonizes all the other organs. In Chinese traditional medicine, they say the heart is the emperor. Um, uh, so, and the Chinese word for mind is heart mind. So,
Mm.
and I'm sure, I think we talked about this before a little bit about the Heart Math Institute. Um, were you, were we talking about that
I
last
don't
time we
believe
talked?
so. I don't believe so.
Well, it's really interesting, brother. Check it out. It's, I think, at Stanford University, and they started to do all this sort of esoteric scientific experimentation around the heart.
Mm.
Um, like, for instance, I first saw it on this movie, I Am. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. But they hooked this guy up to EEG, you know, an electroencephalograph, you know, to measure, you know, your what is it, skin um, tension or something like that, so that they, like basically a lie detector test, um, to just be brief. And they would attach the EEG up to the to yogurt in a dish, not up to the human. And then they asked the human questions, and the yogurt would ping
Mm.
his electrical responses. Um, so, and they would do things like they put meditators and masters into like this copper plated room and measured the electricity coming off of them. And some of them, you know, the true masters had huge electricity, you know. So this is the thing you and I have been, you know, delving into, you know, finding, you know, it starts with the electric, you know, diet and all that stuff, but, you know, also alkalizing your blood, you know, your technique of nose breathing. I've been into nose breathing forever, trying to and habituate to nose breathing, you know, as a practice, you know, but you know, the sun gazing, the grounding, you know, this is the true nature of our being is energy. And so moving into that, you know, is something to do. It's, no, it's electricity.
Mm.
um so I don't know how that
They
path went for you exactly.
they did a
I
similar
used
test. It reminds me of what you were saying. They did a similar test with CERN. They put a group of monks in something. It might have been CERN or it could have been something else. But they put a group of monks in a collider, something like a collider, and all they were focusing on was love, 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 and their energy of love literally was matching and creating a more powerful force with the collider, literally. So going back into love, you know, when you literally do what you love, and look at anyone who is just in the moment of doing what they love, their heart is expressive in that sense. You can really feel the energy of their art, on their passion of what they do, and uh, that in itself feeds the body. It really, really does. I remember uh, I forgot which performer this was, but she said she was doing tons of music videos. She was writing. She was such in a zone. All she was drinking is water, and she totally forgot she didn't eat for the last like 7+ days. Totally, totally missed her. You know, that's how passionate she was, deep into it. So I say that to say, you know, whatever your passion is, you know, dive even deeper if you can. There must be some part of you that wants to dive a lot deeper and express different projects within your passion, if you will, that you didn't really think about diving into.
Yes, I think that I'm in total alignment with that. That's totally been my experience on this Pranic journey too, is it's really all about relationships, you know, your relationships to your work, to your own, you know, mind and your own health, your relationships to your family and the people around you, to your environment, you know, and that it just, there's another thing I really wanted to share, but it's just, you know, the thing of coming into your own passion. um, there's something that Gandhi said to the effect of, it may seem in what you may want to do or be compelled to do may seem insignificant, but it is significant that you do it, you know, because you have a gift for the world. What you're passionate about, what you love is your gift, you know, and if you don't give it, you're robbing yourself of your own energy, you know, and you're also robbing the world of your precious, beautiful gifts that we love to enjoy, you know. So I totally love that, and that's, you know, been my huge, what really brought my path on. Just to kind of tell you how it went for me, I was um, not intending to become Pranic. I was tending, like I said, to.
Okay, we're back. Thought it would die off. Okay. Temperature got too hot in the sun, but we're back. Let's see if I can call him back in. 1 second, guys. Yeah, you know, that's how powerful we are. If the phone is dying and we're still here, come on.
Hey,
Hey there,
brethren.
brother. Sorry about that. It got too hot, and then the phone just turned off.
I've had that happen so many times. I was gonna do this outside, like you would be in the sun, because it's a nice day today. But I've had it happen too many times. So I was like, I
Yeah,
better go to my
that
room.
that that goes to show you how powerful we really are. The phone can't take it, but we can. Especially if you're on the energetic path, the sun is for you, not the sun is not against you. You know, you can be out in the sun as long as you want.
I can attest to that. I live in New Mexico. It's a very sunny place. I spend every day outside sunbathing, sun gazing, uh, working in the garden, harvesting medicine in the forest. 100 degrees, you know, and I don't get sunburned anymore. You know, I'm a whitey, you know, but I don't get burnt. You know, I just absorb it, and you know, I've been establishing my relationship with the sun a long time. If you get rid of the yeast, mold, and fungus in your body, then that really helps. You know, your body be more open to receiving the light. You know, and you won't sunburn as much. And I've been using herbs like creosote or like shea butter. You know, I feed my skin shea butter and all kinds of stuff here in the desert. You know, um, rose and calendula, and you know that's been another thing, you know, for me, is using this, you know, in terms of, we were talking about our passion and how passion can fuel us. uh,
Mm.
I love the plants, you know, they're just such amazing beings, and they're totally here to heal us as ancestors. And you know, it's interesting being someone who's so into plants and, you know, like food, and being someone who doesn't eat food. But you know how it is, you know.
Yeah, you
uh,
can it's
They're
a
sweet.
beautiful alchemical process when you're feeding Mother Nature, in a sense of reciprocating all that oxygen that she gives you, and you're tending to her. You're giving her more attention in that way too. That in itself is a meditation. There's meditations where you literally will sit and stare at the tip of a plant or a tree, and you harmonize when the sun's in alignment too. That also plays a factor. And you can start to see the aura, then you start to build a kinetic connection in that way too. But tending to plants, feeding the earth, um, in a sense, and even when you do meditation close to the earth, that in a way is feeding Mother Nature, and she's feeding it right back to you. For
Yes,
sure.
I love that. Totally. And I feel that it's really interesting. The more time you spend with the plants, people say, like the plants talk to me, and it sounds
Hmm.
like weird, or whatever. And it's not like they use language. I can totally hear the plants talk to me. I know when they'll ask me to come to them if I need this medicine or if I need it for someone, but it's not in language. You just feel you're drawn,
Yeah.
look at, you're like, wow, look at this beautiful one here.
I was gonna post a video with this girl, and this was years before the technology that I'm gonna share. But this girl, there's a video of this girl was saying, "Oh, I can hear the plants. They're singing. They're singing. They're singing," and she's having fun with the plants. And then years later, they came out with something called Plant Wave or Medi, where you can put an electrical device onto the plant, and the plant is literally, you can hear what the plant is emanating, a certain frequency and certain notes coming from the plant. So, you know, science is catching up to what people have been saying about energy all this time.
It's that as above, so below from alchemy, right?
Hmm.
Everything is in resonance vibration. Everything. You're familiar with cymatics, right?
Yes, yes, somatics. Yeah, I'm familiar.
And how sound actually structures, in sacred geometrical patterns, uh, physical reality. Like if you put, sand or just fine powder on these iron plates and you play, the notes on the keyboard, it will restructure into different, you know, um, patterns, and so, in alchemy, I'm a student of alchemy too. They talk about, the whole thing of as above, so below. Every planet is singing a vibration, and there's a reflection of that star down here on Earth. And we are all a reflection of the stars in heaven too. We are all angels because we all have our astrological angles. And if we're in harmony with our angle and our truth of our being, then we bring medicine and healing with our energy. And if we're out of alignment with ourselves, then we kind of do other things, you know, for ourselves and others. So uh, I love that thing. I've been studying this for a long time of how you can actually see it in too. Some plants like St. John's wort, for instance, a lot of people use that, to uplift, when they're feeling, sullen. And it's, a sunny plant. It grows in the sun. It has a bright, a yellow flower. You know, um, it's up on a high stalk, and it's Hypericum perforatum. So um, it's also known to be healing of your aura. If you have like psychic holes in your aura, it
Mm.
can that perforation can be sort of healed by use of St. John's wort or other herbs like um, yarrow, you know. Um, so these can also benefit us. That's been my experience, on this whole path we're, kind of getting into before we lost our signal of, the plant path, and um, being with the different energies that are actual reflections of the universe, and learning that these relationships can all feed us and nurture us and imbue us with intelligence, you know um, their intelligence. It's like a conversation like we're having now. Like I feel uplifted and I'm growing in my wisdom and knowledge, sharing time with you, brother. I love to hear your focus on the electrical, because I've been so, that's been another thing with me is this, for my path, it's been earth, wind, fire, water, how to harmonize this, um, good food of the earth and probiotic, that earth element, herbs and what have you. And
So,
then,
you're familiar with Tartaria?
no. Oh, it rings a bell, but what is it? Remind
Yeah.
me again.
All right. So Tartaria was literally what Tesla, in my opinion, I felt like he wanted to reignite, because Tartaria themselves had technology. They even had escalators in term for sidewalks. That's how advanced they were already.
Hmm.
And this was pre. This was before Tesla. And they
Hmm.
had cars. They had electrical cars. They had many different interesting things back
Wow.
then. So in Tartaria, they never had bathrooms. They never had bathrooms.
Hmm.
So where did they go to use the bathroom? I wonder. Or some of them, most of them, actually could have been breatharian. Who knows? Um, but in my opinion, I really feel like they literally just use it as fertilizer.
Yeah. Well, there's,
And okay, go ahead.
sorry, that just pinged so many things for me. On the one hand, it's definitely in that case of like healing the soil. This is, and using, your excrement or waste as fertilizer. This is a dear path to me because I see this is how we're going to heal our ecosystem and our own hearts, and also on the tip of being a breatharian, the ecosystem is what provides us with the breath, you know.
Mhm.
But also to the point of Tartaria, there's like been these, uh, technologies and understandings of people from ancient days that have been with us a long time. And I don't know if you ever read Janvalo Melchizedek's The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, but
Oh, it rings a bell. It rings a bell.
he goes into, we were the pyramid builders. There's pyramids all over, they're in Guatemala and off the coast of Japan, and they're, in Egypt, and they're, you know, everywhere, in America, Bosnia. Um, and there, was a time where we were all pranic. We were all lived on prana and prana alone. Um, and what it was is on this tip of astrology again, is we were closer to the galactic center where there was more energy. And as we cruised out in our elliptical orbit from that galactic center, um, we started to lose our memory of ourselves, lose our pranic powers, and the, Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, because we're literally in the dark, not in the light. And 2012, the original 2012, our calendrical 2012, was the turnaround point. We're actually headed back now towards the galactic center, and we're moving into greater fields of energy, and we're these piezoelectric carbon silica crystals we can just absorb. We're going to absorb this cosmic energy. And it'll be like falling off a log. It's kind of inevitable. We'll
Yeah.
all move into greater consciousness, into pranic living, and remember ourselves and our connection as brothers and sisters, and recreate, heaven on earth.
Mm.
So I think that's the narrative that there's an actual potential and truth to it that we can be telling, as opposed to, the destruction paradigm.
Exactly. Because natural law, as I always say, will always be. The trees are still here. We may look at an earthquake, quote unquote, being bad, but it's part of the movement of the earth. The earth is a living being, and there's even countries that are, quote unquote, still being discovered. That's how alive the earth really is in terms of. I posted a video on this, but uh, it's called Zealand. I think that's a new country they found, Zealand, and there's so many other countries that's still being found in terms of land. So it goes to show you that the Earth is on a continuous shift of movement, and it's healing at a faster rate. The Schumann resonance is having some crazy. I don't like to say crazy. It's having some phenomenal numbers, if you will. So. it's speaking to us. It really is. And I want to go back into uh, the symbiosis and the alchemy of what Tartaria, I think, really tapped into, and that was definitely harmonizing with their essence, whatever quote unquote you perceive as orange or bamboo waste. They literally gave it back to the plants, and I feel like those who are in tune understands that when you feed the plants your essence in terms of the blood, orin, waste, whatever it is, some of your DNA, it's going to it's going to create a synergy and harmony with you in that sense of creativity and life essence being shared. You know, what you put into the earth, it's going to put it back out, and your DNA is part of it. You know, one of the experiments that I have in the members group is uh, there's this guy, and he can read an auric field, and the guy puts his saliva into the machine. You can read his auric field as far as you go, and the machine literally follows him back and forth as he walks back and forth. And then he hands a person uh, his driver's license. He hands a woman his driver's license, and the woman walks back and forth. And then you can start seeing the machine start following her back and
Mhm.
forth. So what does that tell you? Like I said, what you do frequently is your frequency, and whatever frequency you're tuning into, especially giving back to earth in that manner as well, it's going to send out a signal to you in terms of healing in that sense.
Oh man, that's so beautifully put. I never thought about it that way too. It actually ends up being like a resonance frequency, like a superconductivity going
Hmm.
on. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where you're amplifying your vibration, Earth is amplifying your vibration, your vibration is amplifying the Earth's vibration, and you get this like um, you may. It's fascinating to me because I'm a musician, you know, and I see this very much with this whole thing. Is this is the music of the spheres, like you're saying, attunement, not word, you know, being connected with tone or vibration, you know, and everything being energy. Um, I don't know, just fun, fascinating stuff.
Mhm. We can look at stories like Buddha Boy or people in certain mountains and stuff like that, and you can see they're at the tree, and they've been at the tree for a long time, and even before they even practice, just sitting down and being there for days with no food or no water or whatever, they harmonize with the tree. That's one of the secret practices. You harmonize with the tree for maybe a year or like 30 days straight. You know, you you greet the tree every morning. You do your meditation next to that same exact tree over and over and over. You're expanding your energy next to the tree, and then it builds a relationship with you. And then when you feel that connection is really strong, you can then sit at the tree and literally feed off each other until it just grows and grows and grows and grows. And it's an interesting meditation and cycle that you can put yourself into.
That's awesome, man. It reminds me of the Shel Silverstein children's story, The Giving Tree, you know, where this young child grows up with this tree, you know, and at first it's just a little tree. It shades him, you know, he grows into an old man, you know,
Mm.
and eventually the tree become, you know, he cuts the tree down or something like that and becomes his house, but there's still this like love and connection with the tree the whole time, you know. It just gives and gives apple, gives shade, give, you know, wood. And this is our ancient connection, you know, the dendritic branching of our lungs on the note of the breath is connected directly with the dendritic branching of the tree. And that as above, so below, the reciprocity we have. We have this idea that we're separate from nature, but actually, you know, our physical organism is built mostly out of bacteria and viruses and, you know, protozoa and fungi and all kinds of other stuff, you know. um, and but it's I like this idea of like um, or what is it, we're a like an amalgamation held together by a thought, and that note of frequency and vibration, you know, um, that idea of that you keep putting forth about it, you know, or alluding to, of essentially what comes to me in terms of we are not our thoughts aren't even ours. Our thoughts are the earth's, and the
Mm.
earth is thinking them through us. We're the consciousness of the earth, you know, a receiver transmitter for the consciousness of the planet, you know,
Mm.
and some of the highest consciousness of the planet. So then we have a responsibility, a duty, to nurture the other life on the planet in that high
Mm.
vibration, in my mind, you know, in my heart. And that's been my experience, like you were saying with the tree. You know, every day I go out and walk in my garden and I'm planting all these trees and all these goji berry bushes and all these, you know, flowers and herbs, you know, comfrey and yarrow and things I'm going to make into medicine for people and medicinal mushrooms. And every day I'm checking on them and I'm talking to them. Literally, you know, if I'm picking, I thank the medicine, you know, and when I'm making medicine, like that
Mm.
intention too of like, this is medicine. I want to put forth the healing vibration as I create it and imbue that into the medicine. You know, how much work we can do, you know, on the world. You know, as I was saying, I feel sort of distracted with this work on the earth, and it definitely feels good to me and part of my path. But we can actually change all of it with our vibration, with getting into the inner work in great depth. I feel nature will take care of itself, you know,
Mm.
but we have to learn to understand and know thyself and work with this in a greater way, because this is the great untapped resource, is us, in my view.
Mm. When you when you look at why one of the reasons why a plant-based diet is so quote unquote healthy, or uh, why it's so healing, you know, the blood of the plant literally has the same hemoglobin as the human body. So you're not just eating it and it comes out as waste, but your DNA is actually synthesizing with what you're eating. That is why it's great for quote unquote DNA repair and really giving a more electrical life sort of sense. So, what does that tell you as well? You know, we're in a way we're always in harmony with the quote unquote natural law or nature, if you will. And when it comes to plants, you know, it's part of us.
Yes, I totally. Rudolf Steiner talks about we actually are a plant. That, you know, the microvilli in our stomach are exactly the same as the rootlets on trees, and so we're a
Mm.
plant that makes soil inside our belly so we can walk around. We photosynthesize, you know, sunlight for vitamin D. You know, it's we're. I was having a great discussion with my brother yesterday, who's a Rastafarian, a Korean natural farmer in Hawaii. And the idea with Korean natural farming is you grow out the indigenous microorganisms and repopulate your soil with as much of them as possible,
Mm.
you know. And his point that he made, you know, is this thing is we're made of tens of trillions of virus. Our viral load right now is tens of trillions at this moment, you know, and
Preach.
we're not getting sick from that. You know what I mean, brother? Like we're in wellness, we're in wholeness, you know, and you and I are taking health measures to the effect of like understanding our mind and fasting and, you know, sun gazing and all of it. That gives you that immunological resilience, you know, and these protozoa, bacteria and fungi that compose us. So we're literally that world human. There's like, I take it as two things, you know, the humus or the earth, you know, we're beings of the earth. But on the other hand, hues of, you know, our chakras and the color and vibration of our energy body. So, you know, we're kind of, that's been another thing I'm trying to understand or feel is like part of the work of, you know, harmonizing through the breath is the earth and sky aspects, you know, of our light body and our earth 3D, you know, dense body, you know, or what we view as dense, but it's only right up here, right?
Mm. Mm. That was
But
that was beautifully put. I love that. Um, you know,
thank you.
when you look at stomach, when you look at stow, Mick and the etymology of it. It's storage of quote unquote energy. And I was talking about the full moon yesterday, how it just sends a wave of energy. And if you look at the Earth as a huge, let's just look at the Earth as a huge copper sphere, right? And the moon or the sun is literally shining down onto the Earth. It's highly in concentration in terms of piezoelectricity. So it'll absorb all that energy and send a shockwave all around, all around, all around, and all around. And what's sending that electricity is literally the plants. It's literally the plants, and that inhale that we take in, that goes into our lungs, into our bloodstream, into the stomach, and that stomach will literally take some of that, and that'll be the quote unquote storage of energy in that motion at that point in given time. And that is also how we quote unquote synthesize in terms of the connectivity with the plant in that manner.
Hmm. Yes, and there's a lot of things that we can only get through plants. They're only bioassimilable through plant, you know, and this it's really interesting how every plant, likened unto this thing of relating to the stars, has a connection with an organ or organ system in the body. So you can use certain plants to, one of the ones I like to work with a lot in energy building is the nerves, working things like lion's mane, you know, even microdosing with psilocybin mushrooms, things that are nerving herbs like lemon balm or mint. These are also good for digestion, interestingly, and a lot of these terpene rich plants like rosemary and oregano and thyme and mint, they benefit the whole tree, which is another fun thing we could get into, of like the cosmic tree of your being, how
Mm-hmm.
your plexus is all up and down the spinal column. These are all brains. Your brain isn't just up here, it extends all the way to the ends of your fingers. Those are like the electrical cables. Those, if those are strong, and you can do with qigong and stuff and holding poses, you can grow the nerve strength,
Mm-hmm.
and you build your physical strength on top of the nerve strength. Nerves are actually stronger than muscle. So you can use different herbs for like the respiratory system, but it's this whole thing of there's a vibration to them, like the air. There's an air element, to the air herbs. They look airy, or they have the signatures from nature that display the same thing in your body. So it's all connected, and we're not an individuated, or we seem to be an individuated organism, and in a way we are, but we're part of a like greater waveform, you know. So fun stuff.
Wow, beautifully put, brother. I think we definitely hit that mark in terms of time.
Yeah. Yeah, we could chat all day, I feel, but yeah,
Yeah,
we want to
yeah. It
respect
was a
your
it
time.
was a pleasure having you on here, brother. And remember, you're always welcome. And I'm also gonna send you the download link afterwards.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate, love you, in the words of Rastaman. You're a great spirit. Keep doing your hard work. You're on the fire.
Much love, brother. Thank you. You as well.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you. Bless.